Coming up, it's a holiday, but suspected Boko Haram attacks occur in Yobe and Gombe states, leaving dozens of people dead. Then Kenya picks up the pieces 2 years after the Westgate Mall massacre and reopens tomorrow. And on our Africa Tech edition, we take a look at video game addiction. Network Africa starts now. Hello and welcome to this Eid-el-fitri edition of Network Africa on Channels Television with me, Cynthia Aaron. Happy holidays to you. Unfortunately, there's not much good news coming from the northern part of Nigeria. Just this morning, at least 5 Nigerians lost their lives when 2 explosions occurred at an open-air praying area in the northeastern Nigerian city of Damaturu. The worshippers gathered to mark Eid-el-fitri this morning, and nobody claimed responsibility for the blasts. But such incidents are usually blamed on Islamist group Boko Haram. Now, this comes after a more deadly attack took place in Gombe, where 2 bombings by suspected Boko Haram militants killed an estimated 50 people. Just like the most recent attack, no one has claimed responsibility for the blasts, which went off at about 5:30 p.m. yesterday, but they bear the hallmarks of the Boko Haram sect. Well, our Yobe correspondent Jonathan Gopep joins us now to give us the latest on what's happened in Damaturu this morning. Jonathan, thank you for your time.
Thank you so much. Good afternoon. And Damaturu is calm despite the suicide attempt on Muslim worshippers who were preparing for the Eid praying. They start an unfortunate incident started. The first blast went off exactly 7:37 at the Phase 1 Secretariat. And the State Commissioner of Police, Mr. Marcus Danladi, informed me that 5 people died on the spot. And then shortly after that, I think precisely 3 minutes interval, the second blast went off again. And he said about 3 people died on the spot in that suicide bomb attack. But later on, the situation changed as I got to the hospital. I was informed by the medical director of the hospital that 15 people were confirmed dead in the 2 separate incidences. So at the moment, about 15 people have been confirmed by hospital source to have lost life in that incident.
Well, Jonathan, this is very sad and very saddening indeed. I mean, first from 5 now to 15. Is there a possibility that the death toll could escalate even further?
Well, yes, he told us that about 42 people were brought to the hospital on admission after the 2 separate incidents, but some were treated and discharged. Apart from the 15 that were confirmed dead, 6 others are now will be referred to the Federal Medical Center in Nguru, also in Yobe State. So at the moment, most of the people have been discharged, but 6 are being prepared and will be moved to Nguru Federal Medical Center for medical attention.
Now, Jonathan, have the authorities been able to calm the situation, or are people still panicking based on what happened this morning?
Yes, certainly. What was happening? That was in fear of this attack. What security forces did here was to restrict the movement of people. So if you are going for Eid prayer, you have to park your car about 500 meters to the prayer ground. So the measure was on when this sad incident happened, a little bit away from the Eid praying ground, and then people were just trooping to the venue of the Eid prayer ground. So the authority have pushed further the restriction of movement from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. As I speak now, the situation in Yobe is very calm. You can see people trekking from one place to the other, exchanging pleasantry despite the unfortunate development. So I think security forces have actually taken precaution, and if you are moving, you just have to move without any car or any tricycle or anything. You just trek to wherever you are going. But the security are keeping vigilance of what is happening around town.
Well, Jonathan, thank you very much, and please stay safe. Thank you very much for giving us the latest in Damaturu.
Thank you.
Yobe State Correspondent Jonathan Gobep. Now to North Africa, still talking security anyway. According to Egypt's Islamic State affiliate, it successfully fired a rocket at an Egyptian naval vessel in the Mediterranean Sea near the coast of Israel and the Gaza Strip late last night. The militant group, which goes by the name Sinai Province, has focused mainly on attacking Egyptian soldiers and police in the Sinai Peninsula, killing hundreds since the army toppled Islamist President Mohamed Morsi in 2013 after mass protests against his rule. Photographs distributed online by the group appear to show a rocket heading towards a ship and setting it ablaze on impact. Well, at this point, we'd like to take a look at the recruitment tactics which have been adopted by the Islamic State before we look at the change in strategy which has occurred as regards the attacks. Now, the first strategy is that we've noticed that they appeal to a sense of identity. Now, in this case, ISIS typically preys on Western youth who are disillusioned and have no sense of purpose or belonging. The next method used in recruiting is sophisticated internet propaganda. Now, this is by far the most powerful media tool which ISIS has mastered, and it's social media. Its sophisticated social media strategies on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and Middle Eastern networks like Dawn have appealed to a generation that live most of their lives online and appeal to a sense of religious obligation. And also now, that's the next strategy, and perhaps the most surprising. ISIS is developing a new recruitment tactics, and they prey on teenage girls. In this context, the group prohibits women from fighting on the front lines, but uses other incentives to entice them to join. According to intelligence officials, women recruits are offered sexual comfort roles and are promised a devout husband. Well, we're joined by security expert Dr. Ona Ekomu, who is right here in Lagos. Dr. Ekomu, thank you very much for your time on Network Africa.
Thank you, Cynthia.
Thank you very much. Now, we've just looked at the recruitment strategy used by ISIS. What more can you tell us about the new battle tactics being used by the group? For instance, what we saw happen yesterday concerning the Egypt vessel with the rocket attack.
Yes, well, ISIS has a lot of slick recruitment tactics and strategies that it employs from time to time, and then in also gaining converts and recruits, because it's an organization, it's a terror organization which requires a lot of fighters, and these fighters are segmented into different categories. You have the like the platoon commanders. Those are the guys who command different operations in different areas. You have the street soldiers. That's the guys who actually go out and carry out like active shooter attacks. And then you have the bomb mules. These are the guys who actually carry the suicide bomb attacks out. Like you just reported something that happened in Nigeria. That is similar to what ISIS does also in its areas of operation outside of Nigeria. But I think the thing is we have to watch what their propaganda is, what their strategy is. We have to watch what the young people are, what sites they are visiting, so that we can early on get in a program of de-radicalization. For example, here in Nigeria, we've seen situations where some Nigerian youths have gone off to join ISIS. Certainly, if Boko Haram fighters go off to work with their compatriots outside Nigeria, that is understandable. But for normal young people to go off and join ISIS is quite anathema. Now, that problem is not unique to Nigeria. It's a big problem that they are fighting in the United States right now, in the UK. The US, for example, they've had to cause arrest of young people who were about to board planes. At least I know of a couple cases in Chicago. They were about to board planes to go to Syria and possibly to go and join ISIS. And these are young men usually of Arabic origin. They are American citizens, but they were Arab nationals. They, naturalized citizens. So that battle is going on there, and we probably need to kind of think of how to adapt some of the de-radicalization, some of the messaging techniques that will help our Nigerian youth not buy into some of these identity, sense of identity, religious obligation kind of messages that's put out by ISIS to recruit young people.
Indeed. Dr. Onai Komu, thank you very much for your time. We appreciate your input here on Network Africa.